Alright, so we have a new A24 movie called Talk to Me, and the plot for it is pretty much this. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an unbombed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill, until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Alright, let's get into the good parts of this movie, and the first thing I'm going to say is that it is amazing to look at, which means the cinematography is absolutely great. And there are some shots in this movie that are absolutely stunning, and especially towards the end of the movie there's some really great shots, but overall the movie is shot extremely well. The most surprising part of the movie for me personally was the fact that there's actually not a lot of kills in this movie. I think there's like 2 kills in this movie, which you would think is very low for a horror movie, but I think it really works for this movie because when it does happen, it's a lot more impactful for me and most likely the audience. The performances in this movie are absolutely great, and most of the performances in this movie are from good to great, but the person that plays Maya in this movie was easily the best part of the movie. And honestly, I know it's too early to say this in the review, but I hope this movie really is a hit because I really want these actors and actresses to be in like American movies because I think they're really great and I think their careers will explode off of that. But with A24 movies, not all of their movies are hits, and the last movie that they came out with, which is Beau is Afraid, which did not do that well at the box office. This movie is very stressful and suspenseful, but it's not scary because I've been hearing a lot of people say it's the scariest movie of the year, which I guess you could say that because there isn't a lot of scary movies that have come out this year, but I don't think it's scary. There's not any moments in this movie where you're going to be jumping out of your seat. The score for this movie is very interesting because there's definitely a score, especially early on in the movie, but when things get really intense, there's not necessarily a score, and you're kind of just watching this situation happen, and it kind of feels real at times. And there is a score for this movie, like I said, but there's also a lot of moments where there isn't necessarily a score when you would think there would be a score because horror movies love to use music to build up scenes, but this movie in particular doesn't really do that. I won't give too much away about this next part, but I think the ending for this movie is really great, and that's what really saved the movie for me because the way it was going towards the end, it kind of went towards like typical horror movie fashion, but by the end of the movie, it actually does something completely different, and the ending in the final 5 minutes, I was genuinely confused by, and I'm probably gonna have to watch a breakdown video after this. Alright, let's get into some of the criticisms that I have for this movie, although I've been praising this movie like crazy.
Get off that nigga dick, bro. What is you doing?
The first 2 acts, you can kind of piece together what's about to happen before it actually happens, and especially once we figure out what this hand thing can actually do. But like I said, in the final 20-30 minutes of this movie, that completely goes out of the window. Alright, the last thing I'll say before I give my score for this movie is the fact that although the pacing for the most part is really good, when the movie slows down at times, you definitely feel the runtime, although this movie is 90 minutes. And I will admit that at times I did get a little bit bored about what was going on. Overall, guys, I really do think that Talk to Me is a really great movie. Although it has some pacing and predictability issues and some humor issues, I do think for the most part this movie is really great. And I think if you go see this movie, you'll have a really great time.